Yo, welcome back. I know it's been ages. I've got a good excuse. I was doing a lot of work in the studio and it took ages to get it done. So I'm back in the room and we've got a load of good stuff coming up. First things first, like and subscribe. Cheers. So today we've got one that'll help any of you recorders is using microphones, is using amps at home, got a drum kit in their garage, anything like that. Today we're going to help you with your bottom. Not like that. What I mean is your bottom end. When you're in a do-it-yourself environment, if you like, i.e. your home, a garage, a basement for all you Americans. When it comes to acoustics and rooms, the biggest problem, and any acoustician will tell you this, is the bottom end, is the bass end. It's the most powerful part of the signal, and a lot of rooms, you get a lot of nulling, as in like cancelling out of low frequencies, because you got a solid wall, the signal comes back and cancels itself out. Professional studios do their best to get rid of these problems. Professionals come in. Some studios have like 20, not joking, 20-foot thick wall full of rock wool and things like that to stop the bass frequencies reflecting and coming back in the room and ruining the bottom end. Now, people at home can't do anything about that. So I'm going to show you today a good way of getting your bottom end back without having to do all that stuff. Okay. And it's called a sub bass, right? And I'm going to show you today a homemade one I made myself. I've got about 10 of them, and one you can buy as a consumer, which is the Yamaha sub kick. We're going to show you the difference between the two. And next week, I'm going to show you how to make one. So this is what they look like. Well, this is what my one looks like. Now this one's, I've pushed the cone in a little bit. Doesn't affect it at all, but there you go. All right. Look at that. What a piece of poo, right? But guess what? It in half good. Okay, you see that? I'll show you how to make one next week. And all it's got on the end of it, if you've got an XLR cable, like microphone cable, yeah, there's your male end, other end, going to the speaker. It's so simple to make. This can save your bottom end that you've been lacking in your room. And I'm going to show you how. So the first thing I'm going to show you, how it's set up. We're going to be using it on a kick drum, the most obvious thing for the bottom end. Okay, so cut to the other room. Okay, so this is how we've set it up. Have a good look. We've got an AKG D112. Actually looking at the beta right in there. I always have it near the port. I don't really like the sound of it inside of it. Just on the skin, i.e. here, always gives me better results. So I always stick with that. And the beauty of that is when you put your sub kick sort of next to it, or it'll always be time-wise, it'll be exactly the same because it's the same distance from the beta. So you don't really have to play with the time alignment in the door. So here we go. Look, we've got the Yamaha sub kick, which is like kind of the industry standard. Big shout out to Roger. Thank you very much, mate. Roger actually gave me this out of the kindness of his heart when I went to help him with his studio setup. So cheers, Roger. And here we go, is the homemade sub kick, which I will be showing you how to make. Obviously it looks a bit crap, but it's pretty good. I'll show you how to make one in the next episode and what you can use it for as well. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, back in the control room. Let's cut to, boom, there they are. As you can see, got the main kick light, which is a D112. we've got the homemade sub kick, and we've got the Yamaha sub kick. So we're not going to listen to the kick to start with, the D112. We're just going to have a little comparison. By the way, there's no EQ, nothing yet on either of these. There's no EQ, no compression. I've just brought it in through a mic pre at a decent level, as you can see here. That's it. With your normal kick, you just EQ it. However you do it, you can either do it on the way in. I always do it on the way in because I prefer the analog EQ than in the box. Right. So let's have a listen to just the sub kicks, one that I've made and the professional one, if you like, the Yamaha sub kick that everyone sort of knows all about. Okay, when I press the solo button, you're hearing the Yamaha, and when it's off, you're hearing the homemade. We'll start with the homemade. Let's go to the Yamaha. Back. Okay. Now, if we zoom in, and you probably heard it as well, you see that the homemade kick has got a longer tail on it, whereas the Yamaha is pretty short and tight. Now, short and tight is usually what you want, really. What you can do with the homemade sub kick is just set up a gate, set the attack to instant and release, shut it down a little bit quicker. Then you can match it to the Yamaha, really. I mean, the Yamaha, just to give you a bit of a background to it, what's inside that drum, if you like. You all know your Yamaha MS10s, yeah? NS10, sorry. Well, in the old days, somebody basically did exactly what I've done with this speaker. And they took a NS10, probably left it in the cabinet, and put it in front. Now, if you've seen the old NS10 cones, the white ones, they're made of paper, yeah, and it made the mid range and the bottom end. There weren't hardly any bottom end in it, as you can probably hear in that as well. But it made it really short and tight because the paper was dampened the speaker quite a lot, so it tightened up the mid range and it made things easier to mix in the mid range. So they used just as I have in front of the bass drum, and voila, gave them a sub bass. So basically what you're doing with these, with your own sort of, if you find a speaker at home that you haven't been using for years, it's off your old hi-fi, you like that hi-fi's bottom end through them speakers, that's usually a good sign that it's a good speaker to use. So like I say, just EQ your kick as you normally would. Let's have a listen. See, the attack is instant. Take the hold off. Get your threshold right. So it's not opening at all there. Bring it down slowly, the threshold. There you go, starting to come through. Let's turn and release down so it shuts quicker. Tiny bit of hold. Oh, let's do it so you can see it. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it, eh? Sorry about that. I keep doing that. Right. You can see the release is 84 milliseconds. Go down. Just go down to nothing. As low as it'll go. Take it off. Put a bit more release. Boom. Boom. Not too much length. Let's play it again. as you can hear. I'll take the gate off. Boo, boo, it's a bit more boo. There you go. Tighten it right up. Turn up a bit. If you're not happy with, you know, how flabby the bottom end is on the sub kick, you can always fix it like this. Okay. So, let's have another listen with the gate against the Yamaha sub kick. But listen to that. Let's take it off. So you just got the kick, the D112. No, this is just the D112. Now you see, I've got plenty of bottom end on mine, but the room's pretty good. Bottom end wise, it's been treated in my room. So let's simulate what you're probably going to come up against. Just use a high pass. That's probably a bit more like the sort of signal you'll get at home. Unless you're really lucky, sometimes you can get away with it. Now let's add in the homemade sub. Now, because we've used a high pass, right on this area here, it will completely flip the phase. Okay. So we might have to change the phase on the sub. Pretty sure we will. So let's put the sub in. Let's muck about with the phase. More bottom on that. So we had to completely flip the phase of the sub to get it back again. So remember that if you're using the high pass on anything, anywhere you put that high pass, the phase is completely flipped in that area. Take it out. Let's have a listen to the Yamaha. What a difference. Right, that's pretty thorough, I believe. Now, the beauty of this sub bass is you don't just have to use it on a kick. You just have to use it to improve the bottom end. Rather than using an EQ, use the sub. Right? So we're going to try it on just a basic guitar amp. We'll go to the other room and I'll show you how I'm going to set that up. Okay, so here's how I've set this one up. As you would expect, we've got an SM57, everyone's favourite. Knackered old amp, which sounds good, so whatever. Now if you have a look, if you look down here, now if you think about where the diaphragm is in these 57, it's about there, okay? So really you want to get the speaker, if you look down there, in line. It's about there where it starts picking up. They're pretty much in line, yeah? Get that as close as you can, because it says you're mucking about later on. Get them in line. Right, we're back. So let's record in some stuff off the guitar. Right now you're only going to hear me doing it live with only the SM57. And we'll come back and we'll see what the homemade sub's done. What I find that the homemade sub does Now, anyone who's ever played through a 412 cab, that's a sealed cab, you're going to find there's something what I call cab thump, right? And that's when you chug on the guitar, the whole cab just resonates, and you get this little thump that comes just after the chunk, 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 chunk. Now, if you saw the amp that I used, you can't get it from that. It's an open back combo. It doesn't happen. Now, this is a little tip here for you, and you're looking for that 412 thump. This might be the one for you. Now, you have to tailor it so it's just right, but it gives you a bigger sound. Check this out. That's guitar. That's just the guitar. Now I'm just going to put the sub in. Take it out. We're getting that bottom end fullness. Take it out. And what that sound is when you're palm muting on the back and you're scraping it across it, a combo can't pick up the bottom end that's going on through your fingers. But something with a bit bigger speakers and an enclosed cab, it can pick up all the way down, which is what you would call the thump. Yeah. But as you can see, with this sub bass unit, we've kind of captured it. Don't it sound a lot bigger? Now you can do this to taste. Take it out, bring it in. Obviously make sure it's in phase. Take it out. Take the guitar. Let's take the SM57 out. There it is. There's the thump. There's the 412 thump. Now, if you really want to get it out of the way of the main signal, high pass, or low pass, sorry. But look, if you just want that bottom, right there. Now, remember, you have to check your phase again. Now, what I would do, just to get a bit more control, steep high pass, so it's not kicking the shit out of your speakers. Something like that. That's plenty, right? Put it back in with the guitar. SM57, sorry. Check the phase on the sub. That's a bit more controlled there. And now let's take it out. The homemade sub. And ride the bass on the amp up to about 3/4. It didn't really do much more after that. It was just saturating the tubes. There it is. Free bass. And then after that, put both of those signals to a bus. EQ that bus. There you go. If you have a room with not a lot of bottom end and you feel your recordings are quite weak sounding, i.e. no bass, try putting one of these in a mix. It literally cost me a microphone cable, i.e. cutting one end off. It's a crappy old one that I had anyway. All right, you enjoyed that. All that bottom end that you were missing before, that you kept pushing in with EQ, trying to EQ the crap out of it, trying to get it sounding decent. It's there. It's right in that speaker. Right, we're back in the game. So next week, I'm going to show you how to make one, and we're going to do other stuff with it as well. Give you a few ideas. Thanks for coming back. Enjoy your recording. See you soon.